How to do, everybody? I'm Hopalong Andrew. I'm New York singing as Cowboy. That's my story. Today's program for the New York Public Library is to imagine your story. Maybe go on a quest for adventure. Now, the adventure could be in the nearest book. I've got a big bookshelf, and I love reading and escaping into a story. We'll make up some stories of our own. Now, in the old days, before movies and cell phones, people used to make up their stories a lot. Used to tell stories to each other around a campfire or around a dinner table. Now, in the city, we'd maybe tell our story around the dinner table or in the park. And out west, way out west, we'd gather around the campfire. Where are you from? Are you from New York City? And your parents, are they from New York? Well, my family is from all over the place. They're from different states. Some are from different countries. And everyone's got their own story to tell. New York City is a real beautiful mix of people. And out west, back in the day, also was a beautiful mix of cowboys and cowgirls. Black cowboys, white cowboys, Mexican cowboys, Native American cowboys, and cowgirls. All living the life out there, sharing their stories. So won't you tell yours? Think of a good one, okay? And I'll give you some ideas today. Gather round, gather round, gather round the campfire and tell me your story. Gather round, gather round, gather round the campfire and tell me your tale. Well, I'll tell you some stories right now. We'll go way back into the olden days, the Old West. We'll start with this story right here. Hey, as long as we're in New York City, I can tell, because that's the Chrysler Building. That's the, what building is that? Do you know? Any New Yorkers there? That's the Empire State Building. That's right. That's really close to the New York Public Library on 42nd Street. And the Chrysler Building is on 42nd Street. Let's start with the New York story, okay? Now, back in the old days, before cars, before taxi cabs, you had horses in New York. That's right. Horses going down Fifth Avenue. And sometimes you'd ride into New York City on a horse. Isn't that cool? That sure would be a neat thing to do. Well, I'm back in the city again, New York. Back with my family and friends. It was nice to be away. Now I'm home, I'm here to stay. Back in the city again. Whoop-a-tie-yi-you will be sitting on my stew. Back in the city again. Whoop-a-tie-yi, I'll kick the can and stickball. Back in the city again. Have you seen the Brooklyn Bridge? Let's go. From the Brooklyn Bridge to the old Coney Isle. Promenade down the boardwalk in style. Grab a bagel, grab a slice. Just be sure to make it nice. Back in the city again. Hey, I want a big yeehaw. Can you say yeehaw? 1 and a 2 and a 3. Yeehaw! Hey, let's go out west. Through the magic of television, I'm going to take us there right now. Well, here we are out west. What do you know? What's that? Oh, that looks like a cactus. We must be out west. We're going to see how the cowboys did it out west. And here's a story about a cowboy out in the middle of nowhere on a little farm all by himself, taking in the nighttime and the critters that are roaming all around the desert around him. Well, a night guard, I'm a-riding round 1,000 bedded steers. But tonight my thoughts are sliding down the trail of distant years. Coyotes howl in the darkness, chills my weary soul. Varmints prowl around the campfire, makes a cowboy feel at home. Yodelay-o, yodelay-o, yodelay-o. Yodelay-o, yodelay-o, yodelay-o. Well, the cold north wind was blowing and the snow come falling down. Wrapped in my saddle blanket, sleeping on the cold, cold ground. I used to ponder over my luck, wonder why it never changed. I was happy and free around my mommy's knee, pulling on her apron strings. Yodelay-o, yodelay-o, yodelay-o. Yodelay-o, yodelay-o, yodelay-o. Now I long to see the sun come shining, stealing through my kitchen door, just to see my dear old mommy cooking ham on that old kitchen stove, where the mockingbird sings you to sleep at night, the moonbeams playing through the trees. Something like the climate out in New Mexico would give me back my son to Tennessee. Yodelay-o, yodelay-o, yodelay-o. Yodelay-o, yodelay-o, yodelay-o. Yodelay-do-lo, lo-do-lo, lo-do-lo-80. Lo-do-lo-80, lo-do-lo-80. Yodel-lo-do-lo, lo-do-lo, lo-do-lo-80. Lo-do-lo-80, lo-a-a-e. All right. Well, that was cool. That's the way a cowboy may feel out there, out west at night with the coyotes prowling all around. We're not out west. We're here in New York. We'll tell you a little story. Whether you're gathered around a campfire out west, or whether you're here in New York, maybe in your library listening to story time. There are all sorts of fun stories we could tell and share with each other. I want to tell you a story about a horse named Bill. That's right. There's a horse named Bill. One of those horses you might ride down Fifth Avenue so many years ago. Well, there was a horse named Bill. He was a real playful horse. I'll sing you a story about him. Well, I had a horse and his name was Bill, and when he ran, he couldn't stand still. He ran away one day, and also I ran with him. Well, he ran so fast that he could not stop, and he ran right into a barber's shop and fell exhausted as with his eye teeth on the barber's left shoulder. Well, I knew a gal, her name was Daisy, and when she sang, the cat went crazy with deliriums and sang vituses and all kinds of cataleptics. One day she sang a song about a man who turned himself inside out and jumped into the river 'cause he was so very sleepy. That's silly, isn't it? Well, in Frisco Bay there lives a whale, and she eats toothpicks by the bale, by the hogshead, by the schooner, by the steamboat, by the thimble. Well, her name is Lena, and she's a peach, but don't leave food within her reach, or babies, or ice cream, or pepperoni pizza. Now this whale loves pizza. Well, she loves to laugh, and when she smiles, you just see teeth for miles and miles, and tonsils, and spare ribs, and things too fierce to mention. Well, I went up in a balloon so big, the people on earth, they looked like a pig, like flieses, like fleasins, like mousies, and like katydids. Well, the balloon turned up with its bobside higher, and I fell on the wife of a country squire. She made a noise like James Brown, like a dog sounded like dynamite. Here's a silly story. Now, when you tell your story, be sure to give it lots of fun little details. Maybe going up in a balloon so big the people on earth look like a pig. Having a horse, give it a name like Bill, because when he laughs he can't sit still. Hey, let's tell another story right now. Maybe we'll change it up. Get ready. Hey everybody, I think it's time to go on a real quest for adventure as we imagine a story. Any story, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's imagine a real groovy story. Well, what's our story gonna be? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's go to the Museum of Natural History. I think a lot of you who go to the New York Public Library have been to the Museum of Natural History. What do you see there? What do you see at the museum? Oh, dinosaurs. You see dinosaurs. Lots of dinosaurs. That's right. You see a dinosaur on my shirt? I do. I see a dinosaur on your shirt. Looks just like me. Maybe that's my cousin Jeffrey. Well, that's real nice. What's your name? Well, my name's Terry. Terry the Tyrannosaur. Well, I want to sing you a song about an adventure at the museum, okay? That sounds great. I'll stand over there. We're going downstairs? Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Hey, everybody. This is a story about sleeping over at the museum. It could be pretty exciting. A real adventure to go to the Museum of Natural History at night and meet up with a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, when I was a young cowpoke, my parents brought me down to sleep overnight at the old museum uptown, Tyrannosaurus, where nature and the past come alive, like an ancient Noah's Ark on the inside. Well, at night as people slept under the belly of a whale, I wandered the dark hallway, stepped over a giant tail, Tyrannosaurus. As the stroke of midnight struck upon the clock, its dino eyes and my eyes they did lock. Well, Tyrannosaurus gave me such a fright. Tyrannosaurus, its bark's worse than its bite. Dinosaur cowboy, that is what I am. Just another night at the museum. Well, at night as people slept under the belly of a whale, I wandered the dark hallway, tripped over a giant tail, Tyrannosaurus. Late at night, when the moon does rise, I saddle up and away we ride. Ancient creatures behind glass, our windows to the past, frozen in time, but time thaws and freezes fast. Tyrannosaurus. Herding dino doggies cross the aspen plains, till morning comes and I wake again. Tyrannosaurus gave me such a fright. Tyrannosaurus, its bark's worse than its bite. A dinosaur cowboy, that is what I am. Just another night at the museum. Let's go to the museum together. Let's look for the old Tyrannosaur. Let's go on a quest for adventure. Yeah! Ooh, that was fun. Nothing like a good old adventure. You know, animals like going on adventures too. I'll tell you a story about a fox on a quest for adventure. It was looking for something to eat. Uh-oh. I wonder what it found. Here's a pretty little song about a fox. Oh, the fox went out on a chilly night, prayed for the moon for to give him light. He had many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. He had many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh. Well, the fox had come to a great big pen where the ducks and the geese were kept therein. Said, a couple of you will grease my chin before I leave this town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. Said, a couple of you will grease my chin before I leave this town. Oh. Well, he grabbed the gray goose by the neck and he'd throw the duck across his back. He didn't mind his quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down. Oh, down, oh, down, oh. He didn't mind their quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down. Oh. Well, old Mrs. Flipper Flopper jumped out of bed. Flipper Flopper, what a name, huh? Well, old Mrs. Flipper Flopper jumped out of bed. Out of the window she stuck her head. She said, John, John, the gray goose is gone and the fox is on the town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. She said, John, John, the gray goose is gone and the fox is on the town, oh. Well, Johnny run to the top of the hill and he blowed his horn both loud and shrill. Fox, he said, I better flee with my kill, 'cause they'll soon be on my trail, oh, trail, oh, trail, oh. Fox, he said, I better flee with my kill, but they'll soon be on my trail, oh. Well, the fox, he run to his cozy den, and there were the little ones, 8, 9, 10, said, Daddy, Daddy, better go back again. Must be a mighty nice town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. They said, Daddy, Daddy, better go back again, 'cause it must be a mighty nice town, oh. Well, the fox and his wife, without any strife, cut up the goose with a fork and knife. They never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewed on the bones, oh, bones, oh, bones, oh. They never had such a meal in their life, and the little ones chewed on the bones, oh. Oh, now that's a story, huh? A beautiful fox looking for some food to feed to his family, and some unfortunate duck or goose that was dinner for the night. What can you do, huh? Well, there's so many good stories to tell. Oh, there's so many stories up here in this wall. How do you choose? Hey everyone, it's time to put on our engineer hat. Let's do some train songs. Well, let's sing a song about Casey Jones. Do you have a taster adventure? Let's go on a quest. We're gonna go ride with Casey Jones right now. He's gonna take the train a little fast. Hold on. Hear that lonesome whistle? Oh, listen to it moan. Well, come all you rounders if you want to hear a story about a brave engineer. Casey Jones was a roller's name on a 6-8 wheeler across the road to fame. Well, caller called Casey about 4:30. Took his wife to the station door. Well, he climbed in the cabin with his orders in his hand and said, this is my trip to the promised land. Well, Casey Jones climbed in the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones leaning out the window, taking a trip to the promised land. Well, through South Memphis, yards on a fly, rain been a-falling and the water was high. Everybody knew from the engine's moan that the man at the throttle was Casey Jones. Well, Casey Jones climbed in the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones leaning out the window, taking a trip to the promised land. Well, Jones said, fireman, don't you fret. Sam Whip said, I ain't giving up yet. Well, we're 8 hours late with a southbound mail. We'll be on time when we're leaving the rails. Well, dead on the rail was a passenger train. Blood was a-boiling in Casey's brain. Casey said, Sam, look out ahead. Sam, jump, or we'll all be dead. Well, Casey Jones climbed in the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones leaning out the window, taking a trip to the promised land. With a hand on the throttle, a hand on the brake, North Mississippi was wide awake. I see railroad officials said he's a good engineer to be laying dead. Casey Jones climbed in the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones leaning out the window, taking a trip to the promised land. Well, headaches and heartaches and all kind of pain are all a part of the railroad train. Well, sweat and toil, the good and the bad, are part of the life of a railroad man. Well, Casey Jones climbed in the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones leaning out the window, taking a trip to the promised land. Oh, Casey Jones. That was a hard ride he took, it sure was. Hey, let's go up to the Big Rock Canyon Mountain. We're on a quest for adventure. There are all sorts of stories to tell. Here's a story that the hobos would tell. Hobos would ride the rails. They'd hop a freight train when no one was looking and ride the rails for free to go on a quest for adventure. And they'd see where it would take them. There was a this great story, and some said it was true, that there was a big mountain made of rock candy, the Big Rock Candy Mountain, and that there were bubblegum springs and lakes filled with stew. Well, one evening as the sun went down and the jungle fires was burning down the track of my hobo hiking, and he says, boys, I'm not turning, I'm going to a land that's far away beside the crystal fountain. So come with me, we'll go and see the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, there's a land that's fair and bright, where the handouts grow on bushes and you sleep out every night. Well, the boxcars all are empty and the sun shines every day. Oh, the birds and the bees and the bubblegum springs, the lemonade springs where the bluebird sings on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, all the cops give chocolate milk, and the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay hard-boiled eggs. Oh, the farmer's tree is full of feed, and the barns are full of hay. Well, I'm gonna go where there ain't no snow, and the rain don't blow on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, you never change your socks, and the little streams of lemonade come trickling down the rocks. The brickmen all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay hard-boiled eggs. Well, a lake of stew and a whiskey too, you can paddle all around it in a big canoe in the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, all the jails are made of tin, and you can walk right out again just as soon as you are in. There ain't no short-handed shovels, no axes, saws, or picks. Well, I'm gonna slay where you sleep all day, where they hung the jerk that invented work on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Oh, I think we did enough hoboing, don't you? Up to the Big Rock Candy Mountain. That was a fun story. I'd like to go to a lake of stew and of lemonade too. Well, it's time to tell a story maybe about animals. Some of our favorite animals here. Do you have any animals? Do you have a pet? Well, when I was young, I had an ant farm. Just a little thing with ants in it. I really loved them. Doesn't have to be a big pet. But anyone there have a cat? Do you like cats? I like them too. Here's a funny story about a cat. This man did not like his cat. He didn't want a cat around. He tried to get rid of the cat. This is a classic American folk song. Well, old Mr. Johnson had troubles of his own. He had an old yellow cat that wouldn't leave home. Tried everything he knew to get the cat to stay away. Even took him up to Canada and told him for to stay. But the cat came back very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because he wouldn't stay away. Well, he give a boy $1 for it to set the cat afloat, and he put him in the river in a sack in a boat. Well, the fishing was fine till the news got around that the boat was missing and the boy was drowned. But the cat came back very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because he wouldn't stay away. Now the farmer on the corner said he'd shoot him on sight, and he loaded up his gun full of hugs and dynamite. Explosion was heard all over town. Little pieces of the man was all they found. But the cat came back the very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because he wouldn't stay away. Now they gave him to a man going up in a balloon, and they told him for to leave him with the man in the moon. Well, the balloon got busted back to Earth it had, and half a mile away they picked the man up dead. But the cat came back the very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because he wouldn't stay away. Well, they found a way for this cat for to fix, and they put him in an orange crate on Route 66. Come a 10-ton truck with a 20-ton load, scattered pieces of the orange crate all down the road. But the cat came back the very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because he wouldn't stay away. Now they took him to the shop where the meat was ground, and they stuck him in the hopper when the butcher wasn't round. Well, the cat disappeared with a blood-curdling shriek, and the town's meat chased it furry for a week. But the cat came back very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because it wouldn't stay away. Now they took him to Cape Canaveral and they put him in a place, shop in a rocket going way up in space. Well, they thought the cat was out of human reach. Next day they got a call from Miami Beach, and the cat came back very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back because it wouldn't stay away. That is one determined feline. It sure is. A lot of the best stories are about animals when they're acting like people. Here's a funny story about a frog that fell in love with a mouse. Well, Froggy went a courting and he did ride. Frog went to court and he did ride, a sword and a pistol by his side. Well, he rode down to Missy Mousie's door. Rode down to Missy Mousie's door. He had been many times before. Well, he took Miss Mouse upon his knee. And asked Miss Mouse upon her knee, said, Missy Mouse, will you marry me? She said, well, without my Uncle Rat's consent, without my Uncle Rat's consent, I would not marry the president, Well, Uncle Rat laughed and shook his fat sides, Uncle Rat laughed and shook his fat sides, I think his niece would be a bride, Well, where will the wedding breakfast be, Where will the wedding breakfast be? Way down yonder in a hollow tree, Well, what will the wedding breakfast be, What will the wedding breakfast be? 2 green beans and a black-eyed pea, Well, thou my Uncle Rat's consent, Thou my Uncle Rat's consent, I would not marry the president, Well, the first to come was a flying moth, First to come was a flying moth, laid out the tablecloth, Well, the next to come was a Junie bug, Next to come was a Junie bug, drinking lemonade out of a little jug, Well, the next to come was a bumblebee, Next to come was a bumblebee, danced a jig with a 2-legged flea, Well, the next to come was Mrs. Cow, Next to come was Mrs. Cow, wanted to dance but I didn't know how, Well, the next to come was a little tick, Next to come was a little tick, said, Doctor, doctor, I'm feeling sick, Well, the next to come was Dr. Fly, Next to come was Dr. Fly, that little tick, you'll surely die, Well, they all went swimming across the lake, They all went swimming across the lake, got swallowed up by a big old snake, Well, there's plenty of food up on the shelf, There's plenty of food up on the shelf, if you want some, you can help yourself, Oh, that's Froggy went a courting. He and a little mouse that got married, and they invited all their pals. Isn't that fun? Well, I sure do like a story like that. Hey, why don't we tell you a different kind of story right now? Let's go on another adventure. We're going to go on the high seas, on the ocean. Get ready. Now, we're going to go on a real story someplace different. I have my blue shirt that's moving like the ocean. That's right, we're going to tell a story about the high seas. Whoa. About the high seas, the ocean, about pirates. Arr, all over on the high seas. Imagine your story. Imagine your quest for adventure. Being on a ship that was approached by pirates. Would it be scary? It might be a little scary. Let's put the ship right there. And you'd have to fight the pirates off out on the high seas. Let's go. This is an old, old song and an old, old story. There were 2 lofty ships from old England came, blow high, blow low, and so sailed Luther and the other Prince of Wales, sailing down along the coast of high Barbaree. Yeah! Well, aloft, our jolly boatswain cried, blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. Look ahead, look astern, look the weather in the lee, moving on along the coast of high Barbaree. Oh hail her, our gallant captain cried, blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. Are you a man of war or a merchant ship, said he, cruising down along the coast of high Barbaree. Well, I'm not a man of war or a merchant ship, said he, blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. But I'm a salt sea pirate, just sailing for my fee, cruising down along the coast of high Barbaree. Well, the cannons we fired all the day, blow high, blow low, and so sailed we, until the Prince of Luther shot the pirate's mast away, cruising down along the coast of high Barbaree. Yeah. For quarter, the pirates did cry, blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. But the quarter that we gave them was to sink them in the sea, cruising down along the coast of high Barbaree. Oh, there's a song about the pirates. There's so many good books about the ocean. Here's a good book about whaling right there. Moby Dick. The title's backwards, but you can see the whale. That's right. Lots of adventure. A quest for adventure. If you're a young little landlubber, a young little fella out in the sea. Now, if you were someone who'd never been on the ocean, it'd be a real quest for adventure. Go out on the ocean. Hey, I'll tell you a story. This is a real funny one. The other one was a little spooky. This is another song of the sea called the Eddystone Light. The Eddystone Light was a lighthouse in the middle of the sea, in the English Channel, off the coast of England, right in between England and France. A little boy lived out there with his father, and he never knew who his mother was until one night. My father was a keeper of the Eddystone Light, and he slept with the mermaid one fine night. From this union there came three, a porpoise and a porgy, and the other was me. Yo ho ho, the wind blows free, oh for the life on the roving sea. One night when I was a trimming of the glim, singing a verse from the evening hymn, a voice from the darkness shouted, ahoy! And there was my mother sitting on a buoy. Oh ho ho, the wind blows free, oh for the life on the roving sea. Oh, what has become of my children three? My mother then she asked of me. One was exhibited as a talking fish, the other was served in a chafing dish. Yo ho ho, the wind blows free, oh for the life on the roving sea. Then the phosphorus flashed in her seaweed hair. I looked again and my mother wasn't there. A voice come echoing out through the night, to heck with the sleeper of the Eddystone Light. Yo ho ho, the wind blows free, oh for the life on the roving sea. Here's some songs of adventure. Some real groovy stories to tell about the sea. Hey, I think we can come up with a few more stories. Let's go to New York City. We've got the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building. Let's go for a big ride. Oh, we're in New York City all of a sudden. What do you see here? Oh, that looks like, oh, that's a building right there. A skyscraper. Oh, it's a Flatiron building. Here's another groovy building. What's this? Ooh, that looks like this building, the Chrysler building. What's this? Oh, do you recognize that over there? That's the Empire State Building. And of course, this building right here, that's not a building at all. It's a statue. That's a Statue of Liberty. Well, New York City is a very special place. I want to tell you a story about New York right now. It's a true story. New York City is built on land of the Lenni Lenape people. That's right. There's still Lenni Lenape Native Americans here today. In fact, New York City has the largest Native American population in all of any city in the United States of America. This land was originally Lenni Lenape land, and they had a village on the southern end of Manhattan and another village on top, and all around the whole area. I want to sing you a song, tell you about the Native Americans here. In fact, I've got some books on the Native Americans who lived here. This is a real groovy book. It's got lots of wonderful accounts of the Lenni Lenape people. Oh, here's another good one. Island at the Center of the World. I recommend it. Oh, so many. Oh, here's another good book. Native American Place Names of New York City. That's right. Have you been to Rockaway? Well, that comes from a Lenni Lenape name for that area of the island. Canarsie? Yes. How about Manhattan? Manhattan. Oh, here's another good book. Mannahatta. That's right. Manhattan was Mannahatta, a Native American home. I'll dedicate this song to all the Native Americans in New York City. So many. Oh, come along, children, listen to my tale about the days when Broadway was a Lenape trail. Come a tie-ya yip, come a tia-ya, kaya yip-ya-ya. Mannahatta had a Lenape town. The Lenni Lenape are who you would have found. Come a tie-ya yip, come a tia-ya, kaya yip-ya-ya. Well, they lived on the river in a wigwam huts. They called the river Mahikennatuck. Come a tie-ya yip, 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 yip. Come a kaya yip-ya-ya. Hudson River was Mahikennatuck. Well, they fished on the river in dugout canoes thousands of years before me and you. Come a tie-ya yip, yip, wah yip, wah yip-ya-ya. Well, out in Brooklyn on a bay by the sea lived a Lenape tribe called the Canarsie. Come a tie-ya yip, wah yip, whoop-a yip-a-yay. On the shores of Gowanus Creek, delicious oysters plenty to eat. Come a tie-ya yip, 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 yip. Come a tie-ya yip-a-yay. Well, come along, children, and listen to the tale about the days when Broadway was a Lenape trail. Come a tie-ya yip, come a tia-ya, kaya yip-ya-ya. Well, you want to learn more? Have a little look at the library. You can get yourself a book. Come a tie-ya yip, 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 kaya yip-a-ya. Oh, that's right, New York City. So many neighborhoods, many of them are Native American names. Hey, let's take a trip around New York City. Let's take a trip. Let's hop in a cab. What do you say? Let's hop in a cab. Oh, here's a cab right over here. Where are we going to go? There's an old yellow cab, the way they used to be. It's got the little checkers on it. We're going to go for a ride. What do you say? Yeah, hop in. We're going to go. Let's go for a ride. I'll take you for a ride. Hey, what neighborhood do you live in? Maybe you'll recognize your neighborhood's name in this song. That's right. There are about 105 different New York City neighborhoods in this next song. It's about taking a really long cab ride. A little quest for adventure. It's a true story. I hope you're coming up with a good story to tell. So I'm walking along under the noisy old Manhattan Bridge when along comes a taxi. I hail it and I hop on it. I say, I'm going to Manhattan, Mac. and I settle down inside. He flips on his meter, and away we ride. I ask him if he's seen a street so noisy and so gritty, and he says, listen, bud, I've traveled every street in New York City. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the Bronx up there, man. Down through Old Times Square, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. And then the cabbie says to me, he says, I've been to Melrose, Belrose, Rosedale, St. George Park, Slope, Mount Hope, Riverdale, New Dorp, Bed-Stuy, Stuytown, Spiden, Chinatown, Utopia, Laconia, Morrisania, Astoria, Greenpoint, Hunts Point, Breezy Point, Wills Point, Tottenville, Weeksville, Brownsville. I have my fill. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the Bronx up there, man. Down through Old Times Square, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I said, good for you, mister, but this is my stop. And he said, son, I've been to Hell's Kitchen, Richmond, Gravesend, St. Albans, Highbridge, Bay Ridge, Bushwick, and Harlem, Great Hills, Fresh Hill, Vinegar Hill, Sugar Hill, Castle Cobble, Clinton Hill, Barbaree, Toad Hill, Alphabet City, Little Lily, Red Hook, Farragut, Midwood, Ridgewood, the Ponce, forget about it. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the Bronx up there, man. Down through Old Times Square, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I said, all right already. And the cabbie said, all right yourself. I've been to Brooklyn Heights, Grand Heights, Prospect, Jackson Heights, Morris Park, Cortona Park, Sunset Borough, Oceanport, Morningside, Sunnyside, Bayside, Woodside, Lower Side, Brighton Beach, Silver Beach, Manhattan, Plymouth, Howard Beach, Coney Island, Governors Island, Randall's, Record City Island, Van Ness, Bronx Neck, Little Neck, what the heck? I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the Bronx up there, man. Down to Old Times Square, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I said, come on, mister, you passed my place 3 hours ago. And he stopped me right there and he said to me, he said, furthermore, I've been to Dove's Bay, Sheep's Bay, Turtle Bay, Rockaway, Fish Bay, Kips Bay, Pelham Bay, Steinway, Bowery, Port Ivory, Gramercy, Port Green, Mont Haven, Mill Basin, Chelsea, Canarsie, Tribeca, Bow, Coconut, and nowadays, Domino's, Obo, Pie, Oy Bay. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the Bronx up there, man. Down through Old Times Square, man. As you can tell from the fair, man. You've been everywhere. 3, 4. Oh, come on, cabbie. I got places to go. I got people to see. It's New York City. Oh, let me out. But it took me for a ride. It took me for a long ride. I saw 105 different neighborhoods. I had 30 different types of New York City pizza. I had 13 bagels and lots of Mexican food. Well, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the Bronx up there, man. Down through Old Times Square, man. As you can tell from the fair, man. Now you've been everywhere. Well, we've been just about everywhere, everybody. I hope you learned some neat stories, and I hope maybe you came up with a few of your own. I hope maybe you have a little bit of a quest for adventure to explore New York, explore your neighborhood, and maybe get out far and wide. Go check out the ocean, check out the park, and have all sorts of fun this summer, okay? Now behind me you'll see all these wonderful books. You can always turn to a book for inspiration. Ooh, here's a book about the ocean. Maybe I'll go to the ocean tomorrow. Let's see if I get inspired. Oh, this is good. Have a great time summer reading. Have a great time with your summer adventures. Thank you to the New York Public Library. We'll see you again in real life real soon, okay? Take care, everybody. I'm Hopalong Andrew, and it's been my pleasure. Bye-bye.